And this page, this tab is the reason that I think that PDF checklists are stupid. They are so dumb. I hate them so much. I'm going to show you how to set up the freaking, what is this thing called? Freaking Insights. Oh yeah. I'm going to show you how to set up and install the freaking Insights plugin and set up your APIs so that you can run your first business scan. And I'm going to show you on this staging environment for a freaking website. And let me just get to it where I'm going to add the plugin. We're going to go to upload. I already have it saved on my Finder window, so I'm just going to click and drag it. I'm going to install it and update it or activate it. I say update it because I've been running some other tests. The first thing you're going to see is that there is a banner at the top where it's going to take you straight to the very first step that you need to be doing. I also have a checklist in the shortcode area in case you just want to see an overview of what needs to be done and what to prepare ahead. But anyway, the other thing, if you don't know how to set up any Google APIs or Cloud APIs, I have it step by step. Just follow along, and I even include the links. So I'm just going to follow my own advice and go to the first thing that we need to set up, which is the Google Cloud Console. If you don't have this already set up, it's just like creating a Gmail account. Just make sure that if you already have Google Business Profile account clients that you're tied to as a manager, and that's what you're going to be using with the premium version, then just make sure that you're using that. You're still able to connect to other accounts, but we're just trying to eliminate a step if you're already connected to them. So now that I'm going to assume that you already have the account that you want to be using. And if you've never created a project before, then you're either going to have new project or create project. I already have mine, but I can create additional ones if I wanted to. So I would just click on that button at the top and you see where it says new project. Click that, name your project. Don't worry about the organization and then just hit create. The next step that you want to do is you want to go to the sidebar menu and you want to enable billing. If you don't enable billing, then Google is not going to let you enable their services. What you get with your trial is that Google gives you $300 for the month, and I am going to show you a table of what the breakdown is per scan if you're paying whatever it is that they're charging you. And surprise, surprise, it amounts to like 11 cents per scan. And I'm going to show you how to save your credits, how to save your tokens, how to use your cash in a smarter way to not burn through them so quickly. Anyway, I'm going to assume that you have enabled your billing on your account. And now I'm going to go back to see what are the next steps. So we have our console, we've created our project, we've enabled billing. Now we want to go to the library and enable those actual services. So I'm just going to use one example. I'm highlighting places API new. I'm going to copy that, go back to the console, go back to APIs and services, and then I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to paste it, click on the drop down, click on the card, and then enable the service. You see mine already says manage because I already had these enabled. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them, but do your due diligence and go through the following cards and then just copy and paste those and make sure they're enabled. And see, now we're going to our third step, which is to actually create the API key for which services we want to enable for that one. I don't know why I'm pointing. So let's go back to the sidebar menu, APIs and services, and credentials. Because I already created a few before, I already have a table. Yours might be blank, of course. And you're going to go to create credentials at the very top. You're going to select API key, and then you're going to name your API, and then you're going to select the services that are from the API config tab screen. And then I'm going to have those enabled. I'm going to click OK. I'm not because I already have them. And then for the application restrictions, you want to send it to none. The short reason is that this is a server-side call, and what the site visitors are doing are browser side. So I don't have time or the interest to explain it to you. I have some links here at the bottom where you can read the explanation and learn something new. All right, so now you hit create. I'm not because I already have one. And then it's going to give you your API, your Google API key. Here, I'm just going to, do I have mine? No, it's the new one that I did. Okay, so I'm going to go to show key. I am blurring this in post. and then I'm going to copy the key. I'm going to go into the API input field, and then I'm going to test the connection. The three main reasons why this might not work for you the first time around is that you did not enable billing properly, you did not set the restrictions to none, or you did not enable any of the API services that you were supposed to. If you did that, then you should see this little connected text at the bottom. So now that I have my Google API, I'm going to save that. Next one is Claude. Same steps. I already have the link for you. Again, if you have not created your account before, it's going to ask you which email you want to use. And a quick note on the services for the Claude console. This is separate from Claude monthly for or annually, whatever other thing you already use. That web browser prompts that you use, that's different from tokens. Here you're buying credits or tokens. I don't know why I'm going back and forth, but you have to pay $5 to start. As of this recording, that's what Claude says you have to, and that's the minimum. And one thing about billing that also applies to the Google APIs is that you can set ceilings to your budget if you don't want to go over that amount, because you do have to put a credit card down. But you can also set a low threshold to replenish a certain amount if it goes below that. That way, your scanner doesn't break in the middle of a night or a weekend or when you're away from your machine and you're not able to adjust those settings. So now I'm going to assume that you already have set up your billing for your Cloud account. I'm going to go in and get my API key. Let me see if I have one for, no, I don't. And I'm going to create my create my API, create my key, set it to default. All right, so the only one, and then name your key. I'm just going to call it Yahweh. And then you're going to add it and make sure that you paste it right away, because unlike Google, Claude is not going to give you second or third chances for what this key was. So now that I just pasted it, I'm going to test the connection first. It's connected. So now this is safe to close and we can get rid of these tabs. So now we've connected Google APIs and our Cloud APIs, and make sure I saved it because I can't remember. So now what we need to do is we need to set up the shortcode. And I already have the shortcode the way that it's supposed to be. And I told you that I wanted to put it in the home page. So I can either click edit page or go through the dashboard of pages and then click edit from there. And okay, Gutenberg is popping up. Quick note on the shortcode. I just hit paste and Gutenberg recognizes that this is a shortcode widget, so it just made that. And let me just save it. A quick note on this. When you paste this, make sure that if you're going through any theme, any premium theme that you're using, like Elementor or Divi, that your rich text editor or it doesn't have any inline styling. Preferably go through your code view just to make sure, but if whatever habits you do that you forget, just this is the one thing that you need to get right. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I created my first shortcode for my homepage, and that is going to be your entrance shortcode, because I have another feature that I want to give you where you're able to share these reports, but I need to have another base to call home, because I imagine that as a web services provider, you want to create different landing pages for different audience segments, and the language for that will be different. But whenever it is that you're going to be sharing a report with a client or a prospect, that it really doesn't matter after the fact. After that, because it's already some type of relationship that you have with that, and they're not landing new and unknown to your brand. So anyway, that's the reason that I have this one where it phones home, or a home base, I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna add this page, and God damn it, Gutenberg, you're always popping up. And I'm just gonna call it scanner. And same deal, I'm just gonna type it this time. And then I'm going to publish this. So now I'm going to view this page. All right, so I have my input field for my business scanner on the scanner page, and then also for my homepage. Let me just refresh this page. All right, we're nearly there. So now what I want to show you is that I am going to type in a business name. Who do we pick? Let's pick, there's a Mexican restaurant in DC called Oyamel, or the first one in Oyamel. There's another one in New York. A quick note about this dropdown is that I right now did the search in the Washington D.C. area. So the reason that happened is because earlier I had the little notifications at the top of the web browser that asked to know my location. And the reason that you want to do it is because it's going to search outwards from the point of origin. And because this is a tool for local businesses, I feel it should be local to the person conducting the search. So I'm going to click on Oyamel, the one that's here in Washington, D.C. And the other thing that I want to show you is that I'm trying to find the sweet spot between quality and efficiency and speed. And what I mean by that is that I don't want this scanner to take so long to where your site visitors get bored because they still don't see the value in this report and they bounce. But the other thing is that I don't want to leave important information that would create the value for them to have waited at all. So my sweet spot right now, and it might be me because I'm lacking, I don't know, but I can only keep it. I've done under 90 seconds as my best. So let me start this timer and then scan business. And the other thing to note, there's going to be two layers to this scan. One is going to be the overall scan, and then there's going to be the web page insights. And the reason it's different is because not every website is created equal. Like they're all either smaller or bigger than the other one. But the Google Business Profile that gets a full scan has regular metrics that Google already has an expectation of what it's going to hit to bubble up. And when that data bubbles up, there is a Claude AI layer that humanizes and interprets that data to make reasonable business assumptions. And it's going to look at your competitors. And then that's where it starts to find the gaps of where that client or that business that it found on Google Maps stands against other competitors with the way that their Google Business Profile account had been set up. Oof. All right, so where are we at? We're at almost a minute. And let's see if it's still under, it's going to be under 90 seconds for the first layer. All right, there's the first one. All right, so I got my main capture, and then, like I said, the website is another layer. So I'm just I'm gonna give myself 30 to 45 minutes. Hopefully, it'll do it in under 20 seconds. Come on, come on, me quieres? No. All right, damn it, doesn't love me. So the other thing about the webpage speed insights is that if you are a web designer, I know that you know this already exists, that you can already do this on your own. But the reason that this project exists is because I want to consolidate that effort of all these other Google services that you use to be able to generate a credible report. All right, so I got it under 2 minutes this time. I was off, but that's what I'm going to be working on. But the good news is that we do have our report for mobile and desktop speeds. And again, if you're a technical designer or web services provider, you already know that there's a bunch of jargon and technical acronyms on Google Dev. Now we are looking at the page speed insights. It gives you an overview of where you're at and where other competitors that are in good standing of their reviews are at. It gives you an overall online presence. It tells you what that customer sentiment, what it is it that your customers are saying about, or your clients' customers are saying about their business, both good and the bad. And it tries to get an overall sentiment of that to have a meaningful and more contextual conversation. Photos and media, it's going to look not only for all the photos that are uploaded by other customers or previous clients, but Google wants to know that the business administrator gives a damn about the photos that they're uploading, that they're showing the interior, that they're showing their team, they're giving you action shots, they're showing you their services or products, that they're showing you the parking space. You want to eliminate as many surprises because people's time is precious, and when they're looking things up is because they have this search intent of where they're trying to weigh their options of where they want to spend their day. So this is why it's important that this report is trying to capture specifically the administrator's photos. And even if you're not a web services provider, like let's say you're an events coordinator or event planner, and or you do photography, this is also a reason for you that you can use this as a tool to not give these pain points to a client lead, but it's Google saying this on your behalf. Few other things for business info, it's going to show you if this account is optimized for all the amenities that are available for Google. Typically, you want to shoot for 15. I think that's a sweet spot. Oyamel, this one, is it Oyamel? I forgot which is which one I scanned. This one's at 13, so it's not bad. So these are the metrics that Google is going to take into account when they decide what type of business is going to bubble up based on whatever that user is searching. And let's see the other ones. Okay, one of the better ones, competition. So let's talk about the competition tab. This is dope for a few reasons. One, because if it pisses off your or clients, or not pisses off, but it just makes them laugh that no, this is wrong. Like Oyamel, for example, it's like a fine dining Mexican restaurant in DC, and then Linfam Plaza is the metro station. And so, because I live this in this area, I know that Linfam Plaza has a food court, and they probably have a Chipotle in there, or maybe a California kitchen, or I don't know, something that had either tacos or burritos that this report thought that went together. So what that means, if this is what I call a false positive, and what this means is that maybe there's some things about that account that are not well optimized. That, for example, I'll give you a more extreme case scenario. Let's say that we have Japanese cuisine that is showing up with a McDonald's. What's happening is that the administrator that set up that Japanese cuisine Google Business account probably had very generic initial settings when they first set it, and they haven't updated it since. And that's why the report is interpreting that account to be an equal or similar to an American general restaurant like McDonald's. And even if this is the case, and especially if this is the case, you have a great opportunity to be able to do the audit for that prospect, show them that their settings can be optimized. And this is a specific way for you to show them how they can start ranking better in their local market. And let's see, local SEO. Again, it does a recap on how your settings are, what you're doing a good job of, what you could be optimizing a little bit better. And let's see, then there's an overview, but the one that I like is the actions checklist. And this page, this tab is the reason that I think that PDF checklists are stupid. They are so dumb. I hate them so much. Any moron can create them on ChatGPT. And I say that because I've done that too. So when you're annoyed or upset as to why they will not, um, people don't convert, is because it's a shitty lead magnet that you have. You have something generic that is trying to speak to everyone that gets on it. Even if you think that's your market audience, it's still static. And what's dope about this report is that it lives in the browser, it has a cache, and you can review this with your prospect. You can sit next to each other, you can do a video Zoom call, and you can look through this list together. And I even organize it by impact and effort so that you can clear the low hanging fruit that's going to give you the best boost, and then you can start looking at longer term solutions about how to have good standards of maintaining their account. And the great thing about this checklist is that what's true about it today will not be true about it next month, 3 months from now, a year from now, because it's always gathering more data each time you scan it. And the best thing about that is that this is data that it's yours. If you hate me, you cancel me, you don't want to renew your license, whatever the fuck, you remove the plugin. These tables are still going to live in your SQL WordPress tables. So it's up to you to do with your data whatever the fuck you want. I'm not going to rant too much into my politics of SaaS development, but that is a cornerstone of why I'm doing this. And one last thing that I want to show you for the free version is that you can share this report. And the reason that you're able to share this report is because the site visitor that found it might forward it to their team, to another stakeholder. It might be you who's prospecting and cold emailing them. So emailing them with this type of list that is specific to them, I think is is a more apologetic way for having been so intrusive. So I'm going to show you. So I just copied it, and then I'm going to open a new incognito window, and I'm going to paste it. And then see, okay, see, this is the thing about the know your location, because even after I read this report, I might want to stay on this page um and then run another scan. So I'm going to say yes, allow it. And I just noticed something I forgot to do, but my fallback, my plan B took the load, and I'll explain to you how I fucked up in just a moment. I just realized. So here you have the report, and what's cool about it is that I didn't have to wait the 2 minutes this time, and I was able to see it much faster because there's a cache. I saved your tokens. You didn't have to make that call to Google again. You just had this in your browser for a bit, and that bit is going to be a week, which it says 6 days starting from today. And the reason that I have that is because, if a restaurant is active or a location is active, local business, some information can have a shift 7 days from now. But more importantly is that I want you to be able to show your client leads the urgency of this matter, to put the ball in their court, for them to see the pain points, and for them to decide if this is a big enough pain point for them to act. And so just having that little countdown, I think, is a little FOMO to create that urgency without being sleazy about it. But anyway, now what I want to show you is that I want to show you how your settings are looking like and what's going on. Before that, I'm going to show you what I fucked up on and what I forgot to do. What I forgot to do is that I forgot to assign my scanner page to be different from home and to save that. And the reason that you want to do that is because you want to separate your Google metrics or whatever metrics analytics that you use, and you want to be able to better segment those entry points for your traffic. And so this would conflate my homepage visits to my scan report visits, but this was my fallback because I forgot to set the scanner. So, like an idiot, I forgot, but smarter me earlier when I was working on this, remember to set this as a fallback. So let's see what's going on. Let's go back to the API config for a little bit. And the one that I want to show you is going to be the model for Claude. So one of the things that I want to give you, even for the free version, is that I want to give you more granularity as to what model you're using, because I want you to be able to decide how robust you want your reports to be conducted. And the reason that I think that might be important is because not everyone serves every single type of customers. Some of you might serve in the 2,000, 5,000 services area. Some of you might be in the 30 to 40, 50,000 for larger organizations. I don't know, like construction. So you might close up this page or make it a premium feature, or I don't know. I want you to decide how valuable you want the report to be, because this is the amount of token use that it's going to be with each scan. And so here I have the estimates of how much that is. You can see that it's the good, better, and best. And that's really just, very simply why I have this. The next one up is the cache. And again, this is when you are talking to someone and you say, I'm going to shoot you the report later on today by COB or whatever. I don't want them to have to run the scan again and use up more of your tokens. So this is the parameters that I'm allowing currently to let you decide how short you want this cache to be and to live on their browser. The other thing, I also want to give you some leverage as to how far you want your competitor outreach to look like. And the reason that you want to do this is because, again, going back to different verticals, Let's use restaurants for example. Restaurants typically don't look more than 8 miles in their perimeter because that is the average that DoorDash drivers and Uber Eats and Grubhub drivers will go to deliver a meal. Because anything that takes longer than those 8 miles, the crispy chicken starts to get soggy, and the food is not as fresh. And so this is the reason that I know that's why they do it. And again, I want to give you more agency and more control over your token use. And the next one is the rate limiting. All right, this one's really dope, really important, really cool in like two different ways. The first one is if you disable it for whatever reason and you forget about it or what have you, I am going to bug the hell out of you until you enable it again because it's just a piss poor practice. And the reason it's a piss poor practice is because you're going to get assholes at some point who are just going to burn up your tokens or whatever spam attack you might get. So I'm letting you limit a number of scans for for these timetables. And a few reasons. Again, I don't know how you want to conduct business. Maybe you want to offer this as a bundled service and this is how you set your limits. The other one is that you want to have return visitors. Once they get, like, if I were to set this to 3 scans per hour and someone is making 3 consecutive scans and they try to go over that, they're going to get a soft error at the bottom. It says you have to wait X amount of time from that first scan. So, depending on how important it is to them, they're going to come back. And you already saw that they stuck around for what I wanted to be 90 seconds, but even the 2 minutes was good because Google is taking notice of time on a page, time on site. And when you have a time on site that's over 90 seconds with the information still being valuable, and they're coming back, Google is going to take that into account, and that's also going to boost your visibility. So you're trying to mitigate bad actors and you're trying to raise your online profile and let Google know that your website means business. All right, the other part, the cloud API usage, I'll get back to this one. There's a few holes where I'm trying to show you your token use. And the gap that I have right now is that, like you saw earlier, I had several API keys, but this only takes into the overall token use. So you should be able to reset counters and start over if you're a stickler about that. But again, I got you the fallback. If it's not exactly very accurate, you can go straight into your token use, and here it's going to tell you what you've been using. And so I've been resetting this plugin again. So absolutely, I'm over the 7,000 token use. So yeah, I still have to think this story out. And my last one for settings are the IP exclusions. Here, you want to omit your IP because when I start showing you the other videos and I show you the demo for the premium features on the market intelligence that gets aggregated with every scan, I don't want to conflate your own searches for a business when you're prospecting versus the organic searches that the market and site visitors are coming in. So I'm trying to keep that as natural as possible to give you an accurate statement about what your local market is looking like. And so if you ever come back and you're working remotely, you're using a VPN, you are working at a cafe, and there's a different hosting provider, just add the other one and then just click save. So now I'm going to go really briefly into debug logs. This one, if you're not technical, don't worry about it. If you're having issues, don't worry about it. Just download the log, and I am just going to try to help you troubleshoot and see what it is or what issues or glitches you were facing. And instead of having you go through the C panel and try to find the debug log in your WordPress account, I just bubble up to the front. So, we just skip a few steps. And then lastly, this is such a boring page, but it's so fucking important and the reason that I'm doing this project. I think that whenever it is you stop using a service, you should be able to keep the data that you purchased from that service. So the way that most SaaS models are, design is that they will perpetually rent it to you. And of course, my model also has a monthly and an annual subscription. But what I'm charging you for is that I'm charging you the support and updates for me to maintain this plugin and stay compliant with Google APIs and Cloud APIs and whatever APIs down the road the features start aggregating. But if you were to stop using my services, you would still be able to keep your data. You would be able to export them as CSVs, your leads, and even if you delete this plugin, the databases stay in your WordPress, your MySQL tables. They're yours. You can do whatever the fuck you want with that. Those were tokens that you bought at cost from Google and Claude, and it's not some bullshit bundled of credits where you're paying a monthly fee and you run out and they're just gouging them. I show you, and I'm trying to be as transparent as I can be about how much is it that Claude and these APIs cost. Because I think that my merits in charging you for my service is the infrastructure and the architecture of this tool.